Today I'll be talking about hepatitis A.
In India, from 2011 to 13, two-thirds of outbreaks of hepatitis are reported from the rural areas. Among the 163 outbreaks with known etiology, 54 were by hepatitis A, 19 were by combined hepatitis A and E. So we can say that is a fairly common disease in India. Few major outbreaks were in 2002 to 4. 6 outbreaks occurred in Maharashtra, in 2004 in Kerala, and in 2007 Shimla. Hepatitis is an inflammation of liver and it is caused by these A, B, C, D, E viruses, out of which hepatitis A contributes to about 1.4 million, and it is a disease of fecal-oral route. The virus is a RNA virus. It is highly contagious and may last for several weeks by debilitating. Most people will recover completely. It is preventable by careful hand washing, and in the COVID time, the importance of hand washing has been so high. Symptoms include nausea and vomiting, and it is spread by direct contact, food and beverages, cups and spoons. So it can survive heat up to 60 degrees Celsius for 6 hours, and it remains alive in the human feces for a long time. Incubation period is 14 to 28 days, and human is the only host of this virus. Fecal excretion of virus starts late in the incubation period and reaches its peak just before the onset of symptoms, and resolves by 2 weeks after the onset of jaundice in the older subjects. The duration of viral excretion is prolonged in infants. The clinical outcome is strongly correlated with age, so young children usually have asymptomatic type of infection. Older children and adults commonly have a symptomatic disease. This point is important, that in young children, it is often an anecdotal illness, the clinical symptoms indistinguishable from a viral gastroenteritis. So many times, young children may be having this viral hepatitis A, but they are presenting just as a viral gastroenteritis, and it is anecdotal. So many times they will be getting infections which go unnoticed. In those who have symptoms, it is an acute febrile illness with an abrupt onset of anorexia, nausea, malaise, vomiting, and jaundice. And the typical duration of illness is 7 to 14 days. This disease is rarely complicated, but there are complications like acute liver failure, though it is a rare thing, but it is prevalent in those who are adult or adolescents and those with immunocompromised condition or having any underlying liver disease. Then there is a prolonged cholestatic syndrome also present, which has a waxing and waning course over several months. Here, the pruritus and fat malabsorption is a symptom. This problem also resolves without sequelae. So, a word about liver function test. If you want to see the cytopathic effect on the hepatocytes, so the cell necrosis, for that we see the alanine aminotransferase and aspartate aminotransferase, which we commonly name as SGOT and SGPT. For cholestasis, we see the direct bilirubin, serum alkaline phosphatase, 5-nucleotidase, gamma-glutamyl transpeptidase, and urobilinogen. Now, the altered synthetic function, it is the most important marker of the liver injury. So, usually what happens is when we get a patient of hepatitis, what we try to look are the ALT and the AST levels. You see very high levels initially and they will fall down and we become very happy about it. But the main important function is the synthetic function. For that, we have to see the prothrombin time, increased international normalized ratio or INR, and the decreased serum albumin levels. So this is something which has to be monitored properly, and many times the levels of ALT and AST do not correlate actually with the severity of the disease. So the synthetic functions are more important to be monitored, and their serial monitoring should be done so that if it is not functioning properly, we have to shift the patient to a center which can do transplantation also. So serial assessment is necessary because liver dysfunction does not progress linearly. It is not like that on day 1, if it is 5, day 2 it will be 10. Sometimes it may progress very rapidly. Diagnosis is based on the anti-HAV IgM bioradioimmunoassay. This very important graph from Nelson shows you that during the incubation period only, there is the presence of HAV in the stools, and then it progresses up to about 2 to 3 months. Symptoms start at about a duration of 1 month, where jaundice and symptoms are seen. The levels of ALT may rise a little before that, and then they start falling in the 2nd month, and you have the presence of IgM starting with the rise of ALT and anti-HAV, which is the IgG type. This will persist lifelong now. So how to manage? It is mainly supportive management. Paracetamol may be required if there is fever. Intravenous hydration may be required if the patient is having a lot of nausea and vomiting. Patient may have symptoms of obstructive features of jaundice, so antipruritic agents may be required, and fat-soluble vitamins will be helpful. Most important thing is the serial monitoring for the signs of acute liver failure. So WHO recommends that vaccination against HIV should be integrated in the national immunization schedule for children aged above 1 year of age. It is indicated on the basis of incidence of acute hepatitis A and change of endemicity from high to intermediate, and also the consideration of the cost effectiveness. Countries with improving socioeconomic status may be rapidly moving from high to the intermediate hepatitis A endemicity. As I told, as we are improving our sanitization conditions, so we are slowly moving from high to the intermediate endemicity of hepatitis A. So in these countries, a relatively large population of adults is susceptible to HIV, and a high-scale hepatitis A vaccination will be likely to be cost-effective, and therefore they are encouraged. With transition from high to intermediate endemicity, the incidence of clinically significant hepatitis A cases increases. So in high endemicity, there are a lot of cases, but they are clinically not significant because in children, the disease is very, very mild. But as we are moving to intermediate endemicity, the cases come more in the adolescent and the adult population, which are clinically more significant. India is having pockets of high and low endemicity, and there is a risk of hepatitis A in older children and adults. And exposure to the low endemic population can lead to outbreaks also. So for India, it is very good to have this vaccine in the national program so that all may be immunized, and then we can come down to the low endemicity. So the question arises, is the vaccination against hepatitis A effective? The answer is yes, it is very effective for prevention. Let us look at the difference between the hepatitis A vaccines. So we have two types, live attenuated hepatitis A vaccine and inactivated vaccine. Live vaccine resembles the natural infection, whereas the inactivated does not. Live vaccine gives a continuous antigenic stimulation, which gives sufficient time for memory cell production, which is not present in the inactivated one. It provides multi-pronged immunity, cell-mediated and humoral. Inactivated produces humoral immunity, but weak cell-based immune responses there. We need only a single dose of live attenuated vaccine, but for inactivated, 2 doses are required. There is the same dose for live attenuated vaccine in pediatrics as well as adult, whereas in the inactivated vaccine, we have different doses. It is given through the subcutaneous route, while the inactivated is given through the IM route. So the key features of live vaccines are that it stimulates the natural infection, it produces a complex immune response, and both humoral as well as cellular immunity are provoked. H2 strain is used and is licensed for use above 1 year of age. Single dose subcutaneous. Freeze-dried preparation is there, and same doses for adults and children. Inactivated hepatitis A vaccines, they are recommended above 12 months of age, and 2 doses schedule with 6 to 12 months interval. It can be extended up to 36 months. Vaccine brands are interchangeable. For children, half volume is there as compared to the adults. And following 2 doses, the efficacies have been reported to be 90 to 95%. So effectiveness using a large-scale immunization programs were about 94 to 97% reduction in the incidence of acute hepatitis A. This vaccine can be used in post-exposure prophylaxis also, and in outbreak situations, a single dose within 2 weeks of exposure can be used. Overall safety profile has been excellent with these vaccines. Live attenuated vaccine is a newer vaccine which originated in China in 2008, recommended above 12 months of age in a single dose. In studies, it has shown 100% efficacy. Also, in the large-scale vaccination, it has shown to decrease the number of cases from 32 per year to less than 1 case per year. So it has been shown to be highly effective. 95% efficacy for post-exposure prophylaxis has been proved with this vaccine, and safety profile is also very good. And we have Indian studies for this vaccine to prove this safety. In a hepatitis A outbreak, cases in the vaccine group and control group were 0.28% and 5.92% respectively. So the efficacy was 95.27%. So it is highly efficacious both in post-exposure and in the outbreak situations. Being a live vaccine, it is not recommended to use in pregnant women and in immunocompromised patients. Now, because it is a live vaccine, it is also shed in the stools of the vaccinees. So it was studied whether this is transmitted to their non-vaccinated classmates, and does it leads to protection? Also, one study was done in which there were two groups. One was given the subcutaneous vaccine, other was given this vaccine as an oral route. So if it goes by the oral route, it does not produce any type of immunity. So chances of getting a virulent strain from this vaccine derived virus is not there. So again, this shows that it is a highly safe vaccine to use, and person to person transmission does not lead to any seroconversion or any virulence. So this is a multi-centric study done over 5 years. This is done in India only. It was done in 4 cities where 505 children were recruited, and they were followed at 6 weeks, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year and 5 year to look for the seroprotection. And you can see the seroprotection levels remained above 95% in all of them. If you look at the GMT levels, the titers above 20 MIU per ml are considered protective. From 6 weeks onward only, the titers became above 20 MIU and they remain above that level at the end of 5 years also. So it was having a good seroprotective rate, and the GMT titers were also very good. This is a unicentric study by Bhave et al., and it was done in 2004, which led to the introduction of this vaccine in India in 2005. So this study was done in Pune, more than 100 children, followed for a period of 10 years. And you can again see that the seroprotective rate initially was 95.8%, then it fell down to 77.7%, and again it raised to 87.6%. So what does this indicate? This indicates that these children may have had some natural infection in between, and that natural infection acted as a booster to boost the immunity of this vaccine. Also, you can see the geometric mean titers have also increased. So some of the children must have encountered the virus naturally after receiving the vaccine, and though the virus did not cause any disease in them, it acted as a booster dose for them. On the basis of these studies, it was seen that this vaccine is effective even after a single dose. So initially what IAP did, IAP introduced 2 doses of the vaccine to be given at 1 year and then 6 months later on. But later on, in 2014, they scrapped that recommendation and they said that only 1 dose is effective. And these were based on Indian studies. So a good seroprotective rate in GMT was seen after the end of 10 years also. Now this again is a very important study which was done in China. And what they wanted to see that how long the immune memory is lasting by 1 dose of a live attenuated vaccine. They wanted to assess the duration and characteristic of immunity confirmed by this vaccine. So about 3,500 children were immunized in 1996 to 99, and they were randomized to receive a single dose or to serve as a control. So in this study, the participants without either natural infection or vaccine booster were selected as the participants. So those who had taken the hepatitis A vaccine, but during this period of 17 years after taking the vaccine, they did not have any evidence of a natural infection, or they were not given any second dose of the vaccine but taken as a participant. Then what they did, they gave a challenge dose vaccine to these participants. They collected a blood sample before giving the vaccine and after 2 weeks of the booster, taking the seroprotective level to be above 20 MIU per ml. For any vaccine or post-infection, antibody titers in GMT will start falling after in some period. So this is normal phenomena that will occur in any case. So aim was to see that after this long duration, what is the actual clinical effectiveness in the real-time scenario, and to see if the GMT titers are below the recommended level. So anti-HAV negative will be the subjects who are having the GMT levels below 20, and positive will be those who are having above 20. They were able to recruit 31 people, and out of them, the anti-HAV level before the booster were 8 in those who were anti-HAV negative, and after booster, you can see that there is a dramatic rise both in the anti-HAV negative and the anti-HAV positive. So this is showing that there is a 28-fold rise in the GMT titers in the anti-HAV positive groups and an 83-fold rise in those who are negative. So though the anti-HAV negative group were significantly lower than that of the anti-HAV positive group pre-challenge, but there is no significant difference after the challenge. So the anti-HAV group had a 83-fold rise, negative group had a 83-fold rise, and a positive group have a 24-fold rise. So what does this indicate? This indicates that if a person has been immunized once, if there is a booster given or a natural infection occurs, the body is able to generate an immune response, and which is a very good immune response. We can see that 661 MIU even in the negative group. It clearly shows that even 17 years later, subjects were below the required level of GMC also produced required level more than the GMC levels when they get exposed to the infection. It happens mainly because of the advantage of the memory cell activation, that is cell-mediated immunity, which is because of the live vaccines. So although the antibody titers of the anti-HAV negative group was significantly lower, but there was no significant difference in the term of protection when they were given the test vaccine. So it is encouraging to note that when encountering the antigen again, the antigen-specific memory B and T cells are capable of mobilizing a rapid response within 2 weeks, you can see, and demonstrated by the ability to promptly mount an immunistic antibody response to the booster dose and the secretion of specific cytokines. There was a significant increase in the secretion of interferon by CD3 cells in vivo, which was measured after the booster. Interferon secretion by CD3 and CD8 subset was markedly higher than that from the CD3-CD4 subset, which satisfied the characteristic of a live attenuated vaccine to mediate a cellular-based response. So a single dose of live attenuated vaccine showed a good B and T cell immune memory and likely to produce a long-term protection. So studies have been underway, and they have shown by mathematical models also that at least 30 to 38 years protection have been there with these vaccines. So the recommendations came by WHO in 2012 to use it for all children above 12 months of age for live vaccines single dose, which IAP endorsed in 2014. And for the killed vaccine, 2 doses have been recommended. So the take-home messages from this are that hepatitis A case mortality rate increases with age. Fulminant hepatitis though is rare but associated with high mortality. India has moved from high to intermediate zone of hepatitis A endemicity because of improved sanitization, hygienic practices and vaccination. Single dose of live vaccine is adequate in our country, which is in endemic zone. So also considering the cost-effective benefit which is provided by a single dose, it is more good to use. A live hepatitis A vaccine provides both humoral and cell-mediated immunity. Though required level of protection is 20 MIU per ml, live vaccine has been shown to have GMT titers above 127 after 5 and 100 at the end of 10 years. It is the only hepatitis A vaccine which is backed with Indian trials. So we have a 5-year multicentric and 10-year unicentric trial with this. It has advantage of long-term protection due to advantage of the memory cells proved by the 17-year booster challenge test. So it has advantages of less pain as it is administered through the subcutaneous route. So we need to protect our children from hepatitis A. Thank you.
Do share this video with your family and friends and subscribe to Doc on Duty for more informative videos.